Well, it is time for Mayor Monday, and this week we are heading to Gresham. Joining us now over Zoom is Gresham Mayor Travis Stovall in his first term as Gresham's mayor. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Jenny. Good morning.
Yeah, good to see you again. So lots always happening in Gresham. I want to start with something that's, been in the news a lot lately. We've had that historic number of shootings in Portland, mostly on the east side. And I know some of that has spilled over into Gresham. How is Gresham responding to this, and how are you handling what's happening?
Well, Jenny, first and foremost, we always want to make sure that we recognize the hurt and the sadness that it is that the violence causes our community members, and that's critical because that is the foundation of why we are really working hard to address these issues. And as we talk about some of the rise in violence, I always reference that there are short, medium, and long-term solutions that we have to work on. The short term is absolutely going to be areas that we need to address in regards to law enforcement. That's the short term. Medium term, we need to make sure that that we're doing. We're working with we have a multi-agency response to this. We're working with the Sheriff's Department. We're working with Portland Police. We're working with social works and mental health professionals as we look to lean into this. And that's that medium term response that we have to make. We're also reaching out to community-based programs, the Latino Network, POIC, which is Portland Opportunity Industrialization Center. Those are all key community-based organizations that we're connecting with to ensure that we can make sure that we see this violence decrease. And long-term, it's a programmatic approach. We have to engage these individuals in our entire community in ways that are positive in response to what we're seeing here. And that was one of the big things that benefited me as a young boy growing up in the inner city of Kansas City, was the fact that I had engagement. And so we're looking to the state to make investments in Graydon Sports Park. An area that's just on the east side of Gresham that will allow us to host baseball tournaments, soccer tournaments. Those things are going to be those levels of engagement. And lastly, another area that we're also working with the state for additional investment in is what we call our opportunity for engagement intervention and prevention program. So those are the types of things that we're looking at. And again, in that area, we're engaging youth with opportunities as far as work opportunities as far as being engaged. There's an organization called Play, Grow, Learn here in Gresham that does an amazing job in connecting with our youth and getting them out to our parks. And they're playing, but at the same time, they're growing and learning because they're working on the park infrastructure, increasing trail access, and making sure that there are plants. So they're planting trees, and they actually know the names of many of the plants that I don't even know. So those types of things are the absolute things that we're already putting forth as the short, medium, and long-term opportunities, with the short term being that law enforcement response, but moving to medium term very quickly and looking at engagement. So that's really what our core response is at this point.
Yeah. Well, that's a start for sure. Now moving to COVID, all this has been happening while we've been dealing with a pandemic. Multnomah County moving into that lower risk category. So how have businesses held up in Gresham? Has there been relief for them along the way? And are a lot of them going to be able to open up?
Jenny, great question, and it's been a struggle. Gresham has an over dependence on small to medium sized businesses. We don't have the large organizations that allow folks to work from home as much. A lot of service based businesses that require people to leave their home to access their employment. So those things have been challenging here in Gresham. Gresham started out first by actually deploying some solutions, opportunities to help be a stopgap in the businesses they lost and the employment folks. And so we put out a business program that actually gave some businesses grants. And then we've transitioned to being a conduit for some of the other programs that are out there, the Paycheck Protection Program, some of the rent assistance programs for businesses and residents, folks that live here. Those are all things that we've already been able to implement. But the opportunity to move to the lowest risk rung is going to absolutely help our businesses, and not just our businesses, but the people that work in those businesses and rely on those businesses for their overall well-being as far as income into their homes. And so the stimulus packages have been very, very helpful over time, but opening up is going to be something that's going to be very phenomenal for, again, our community and the opportunities that lies ahead. And then it's also going to be something that boosts the overall morale. I mean, that's really the foundation that we're looking at. We want people to become way more optimistic, and that's what this is going to do for us.
Yeah, yeah. And another big issue that a lot of areas in the metro area are tackling, homelessness. How has Gresham been responding to the problem?
Jenny, we just the council just got a report out on that just this past Tuesday, and it was encouraging about our response throughout the pandemic. Many municipalities pulled back on their unsheltered population and working with their unsheltered population, and we've got individuals that are in our city. Kevin Dahlgren, who's doing a phenomenal job under the leadership of Joe Walsh. Both of those individuals have been dedicated to our unsheltered population, and they've been working with our unsheltered populations throughout the entire pandemic and really working hard. And so that's been something that we've seen a significant area of success. As a matter of fact, we had two individuals that have made it from being unsheltered to actually accessing permanent housing. One, his name is V. That's what he goes by, just the initial V. And he's now working for Columbia part-time. And you go back 6 or 8 months, I believe it was, and he was unsheltered. And we contacted that individual in the unsheltered situation he was in, got him permanent housing, and now he's working part-time at Columbia. And Deshaun is also another individual who had historically stepped away from being wanting to be sheltered. Now he's sheltered, has permanent housing, and the city's working directly with him to help further his opportunities as he goes forward. So those are some of the incredible, heartwarming success stories that our team has been able to have even throughout the pandemic.
All right, things are happening in Gresham. Mayor Travis Stovall, thanks for your time this morning and best of luck with all this.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jenny.